Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. Well, as you can see, that's not good. And yeah, that's how it came when Napa delivered it. Thankfully, however, they sent me a new gauge. And actually, the gauge that they sent me is actually a better one. It's a liquid field. This one here was not. And so they want the old gauge back for a that way they can do the warranty work. But like in that little short video that I uploaded about this thing, and there we are. The little plastic face is gone, and the outer piece is all smashed up. So something smacked it. Anyway, that's supposed to go in there somehow. There we are. What I'll do is I'll take and just put it back in this old packaging. Then this thing also has electric start. In fact, I've got to do some digging and figure out how to get the wiring hooked in. We actually had the same motor on our seed cart that we use to fill up the corn and bean planters, but it's got its own little battery sitting right here. And this one here, they said Napa told me they think you actually just simply take and wire this directly into your vehicle's battery, because it's not like you're going to be picking this thing up and moving around all the time. And so I've got to figure that out. It may actually wire into the back of this key switch box right here. Wait and see. Okay, I had to run and grab a box cutter to get that heavy plastic piece cut open. Got my pipe tape, or thread tape, whatever you want to call it. Get that wrapped around there. And something I always do whenever you're going to be taking and putting this stuff on is take and wrap the tape the same way that you're going to be taking and screwing whatever it is you're putting together in. That way, as it goes round and round, it's not all just wanting to bunch up inside the threads, because it's wrapped in the same direction. Yeah, there we go. Fit right in. So I've got to get the book out and take a look at it as far as wiring up on that motor. Back here, right there is the solenoid, and there's the little starter. And so I don't know. I've already looked. I don't really see anything as far as going into this box piece right here. But I don't know. Maybe I take and hook up on that solenoid just like you do a regular starter on the tractor. Like I say, I got to get the book dug out and take a look at it. Okay, I think, yeah, we can go one more, I think, easy enough. I know the old one was put in there pretty tight. Uh-oh, that's not good. You know what? That might be a dumb metric. Huh. Well, I'll run and grab a metric wrench, and that should have it fixed up. Alrighty, grab me some metric wrenches. Come to find out, it is actually 14 millimeter. if I can get that thing on the shoulders. That dumb thing is, after that one wrench rounded a little bit, now it's wanting to jump. Well, we'll see what happens, I guess. Thing is, though, leaving it the other way, it was almost too loose. It gave a half a turn, that was it. Well, I may be stuck with an upside down gauge. Now, the gauge face itself does turn, but it feels like it kind of wants to come off when you do that. You don't want that. Well, I think I'm going to have to leave it set like that, because otherwise it's not going to work. It can leak. Oh well, it's not like I'm sitting up there watching the pressure gauge all the time. It's going to be up in the truck where you can't see it anyway, so big deal. We'll leave it like that. Anyway, like I say, I've got to get the book. It's at my house, and take a look to see how to wire that dumb thing in. I'm almost beginning to wonder now if it doesn't hook onto that little solenoid there on the starter. But I'll get the book out when I get back to my house. So next project I want to work on, I got to get the exhaust pipe on that welder and then get my welding cable leads lined up. And so I'll be showing you that here in a little bit. Okay, I'm here working on this welder now. It does have a battery down underneath there. I will say that looks to be a lot of fun to ever have to replace that. Looks like your printer had to take this back housing off somehow to get the battery to go out the back. You would have thought they would have put like an access door right there. It's got this drop down panel. And so I want to take this battery charger, hook onto it, and see what kind of battery percentage that we are showing. Get the ground snake back underneath there. All right, there we are on the negative. And here we are on the positive one. Ooh, 9 volt. I'll take and put it on charge, and we'll see what happens here if the numbers begin to come up. Problem is, that battery is set on the shelf for who knows how long. Now, they did have right there the ground cable disconnected, but still, when the battery just sits there, it's eventually going to run down, even though the cable's not hooked up. And so I'm going to grab the exhaust pipe and we'll get it stuck on here. Okay, got the exhaust pipe dug out. And that just drops down through the top. And right there, it loops. It's got like an S-curve in it. And no, I don't know how we can see that up right there. That drops on there like that. So I will probably have it sitting. No, it depends on how, for right now, I'll have it sitting like that, pointing straight out the back. It would help if I got my clamp on. Go ahead and make sure it's big enough before I drop the pipe in. But it mounts on just like any tractor exhaust. So we'll go ahead and put that in there. I see why they got that loop right there as opposed to right there. You can see that's the muffler. And so you got one cylinder here, one cylinder on the other side, both going into the muffler, and that drops down around like that. I think they did that for rain. That way, rain will actually, any water is going to stand right there. Then when you go to fire it up, it's going to blow the water out. Okay, there we are, dropped onto the muffler pipe. We'll get the clamp on and bolt it down. Then I just got to get it raised back up out of there so far. Okay, now time for a wrench. Looks about like a 1/2 inch maybe. Yep. And like I said on my short, I considered, and I did check out a Miller. They call it the Miller Bobcat 225. And it was just under $2,500 more than this one. And basically the only difference is it had remote start. Okay, that's got the muffler stuck on top. I think we're pretty straight, just eyeballing it. And the Miller also did have like a different kind of setting on the front. I don't know if you can hook up like different type of electrodes, because I have seen them where it will say TIG and then also MIG. And well, that doesn't really make much difference to me. With this one here, the generating part, or the generator, is big enough that I can just simply take and plug my MIG welder that I have into it, and even my plasma cutter I can run up to. It's got a 50 amp breaker, so I could run up to about 45 amp with the plasma cutter. Okay, that's got that on, and we're trying to get that battery built up. We'll wait and see. We're at 45. So I'll bring you back in and show you my cable leads and that kind of stuff. All right, got my cable leads here. Oh yeah, as I was just telling you on that welder regarding the Miller idea, because I said that they had talked about, it's got like one setting for TIG, another setting for MIG, and however, I've had that Hobart MIG 210 for, oh wow, 10? Maybe about 12 years now. It's always worked great for me. And so, like I say, that's why I went with the Hobart, and also a farmer up east of here who works with welders, and he's actually a welding instructor, told me that Hobart and Miller are actually both owned now by the same company. I think that is Illinois Tool Works. And because both him and another friend of mine who does a lot of welding, they both told me that years ago, the early Hobarts were junk. In fact, that friend of mine told me, he said that they were really bad for the heat. Whatever you'd said on, it'd want to vary on you. Just it was not consistent. And but now that the same company owns both Hobart and Miller, that farmer told me that works with welders told me that the Hobart and Miller, everything on the inside is the same, because everything is now circuit boards. And so that's why I went with the Hobart. And unless, it looks like, yeah, that looks like 25 feet. I had them give me 25-foot leads. That way I would have plenty of reach. And this here is 2-gauge wire. Some people might call it 2-aught, but it's just 2-gauge wire, so good heavy wiring. I think I got a big enough electrode holder, 300 amp. There's the ground. That's also rated for 300 amp. So now I got to get that insulation stripped off there and get that popped in and crimped somehow. I will come up with an idea. Okay, I'll show you here getting one end all the insulation stripped off. I don't exactly want to hold that with my finger, running that razor blade around there. I prefer to keep my fingers in one piece. But I got them sitting right here. These deals. That is what will go on the welder. Now, there is there's a guy that lives northeast of here. In fact, he actually lives just around the corner from my church, and he has a welder just like this, and he keeps it in the back of his pickup truck. And from what I've been able to see, it is he just leaves his welding leads right on the welder itself. However, I don't want to do that because of the sun, weather, and that kind of thing. And so when I need it, I will just simply take and pop these on, because it just has a 1/2-inch stud bolt on the front of the welder. Need to peel just a bit more rubber off. Okay, now we're starting to break it right there. Try and just kind of walk it around there without digging in too deep. And that should let that rubber piece come right off there. Okay, well, I'm not going to show you every one of these, but figure, well, I'll just show you one. And there we go. That got it stripped down just a little bit more. Kind of get the wire all kind of rolled around the pop on there just like that. That is one nice thing, though, with that boom truck, is that with it being an old power company truck, let's see here if I can get this to work right. Hey, that worked. We are crimped. I've used these before on other projects. Well, not that big, but I put a bunch of these on the combine here several years ago when I put a 200 amp alternator on the thing. But in that boom truck, though, I think I've showed it before, you open up some of those big doors on the side of it, and it's got it's just like a great big square box, and it's got all these hooks that hang around inside, and it's made for hanging wiring and all that kind of stuff. And so that's what I'm going to, on the left hand side of the truck is where I am putting tools on the left-hand side for tools, right-hand side for welding stuff, and electric cords, and that kind of thing for the generator. So I'll bring you back in when I'm ready to show you getting this piece here put back on. All right, I've already got this other end here stripped back. And from what I'm seeing, when I took this, I got that plastic cover off, and it's already on the cable. You put the cable in, you got this little half moon piece that goes in there over top of that bolt. And that's what pushes down against that. That way it spreads out, it's pushing down against one big area. So I'm going to take and try and get that cable wrapped around like so. And stick it straight out, approximately. Okay, and there's, yep, well, take that back. Depending on how I set it. Put that piece in there like that. Put the cable in. And make sure I grab the right size Allen. Oh. I guess I could just use the one they sent me. That works too. And now, begin to tighten that down. Okay. I got the thing in upside down. Let's take and flip it. Take and put it over like that. Okay, now, yeah, like I say, then once that pushes up, it's going to push in the center of that little piece. Try and get all the little wires fed up in that wand. There we go. Like such. Now we begin to tighten it down. And I can feel it pulling down good now. Hey, there we go. Okay, yeah, there we go. You can see how it's got that little tab pushes down that whole entire area of good old bare copper wire. Now we just take and run this back up like that. Put the screwdriver right through that back hole right there on that thing. Run that little screw in, that locks that collar on. And that's got it. Well, I'll tell you what, I'm going to call that an end of this video. I've got to do the same thing over here to the ground side, but you see one, you've seen them all. And this end here will go on one end of that wire right there, and just like doing this, take and crimp that piece down, same exact thing. So I'll bring y'all back in here sometime when I'm ready to actually fire that generator up. And looks like from here, yeah, that does say 100% charged. I guess that's not too bad of eyesight. Read these little numbers from 30 feet away. Yeah, 100. And so we'll see how well that holds the charge. I may plug the thing back in tomorrow just to see what it does. And then try and get the ground cable hooked up and get this bad boy fired up. And then I've got to get the book out for the air compressor back there for figuring out how to get that dumb thing wired up. It does have pull start, so I can pull and start it. But it would be nice to be able to just hit the key and up it goes. So, hey, take care. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next time.